So the notes from the nurse say that you are not feeling very well. It says that you've been lonely and you need something to do. I think I have just the prescription for you. You need an armor test from Buffman Range. Hey everyone, welcome back to the range. My name is Matt, and like I said, I've got a body armor test today. Probably all know this brand, or maybe not from this logo. We've got a body armor test from ShotStop today. This is their cool little level 3A clipboard. Our ShotStop model for choice today is actually their NIJ certified, CPL listed level 3/3+. It is a pure polyethylene plate through and through, so 100% of this thickness is all polyethylene. There may be some foam in there, but I don't think there is. This particular model is multi-curve. You can see all those sexy curves in there. It is 2 pounds, 15 ounces. It is approximately 765 thousandths thick, or for those people across the pond, 19.46 millimeters. If this is the first time you're stopping by, my videos are a little different than most other YouTube content creators. I'm very data-oriented, data-driven, so I'm out here to replicate the NIJ testing to the best of my ability for redneck science. So since this is rifle armor, I shoot at 45 feet. That is the official NIJ testing distance. I also shoot at 0 degrees because that is worst case scenario. Now, because the body armor needs a compressible media for it to be shot against, we have this giant clay briefcase filled with Roma Plastilina number one clay donated by Siobhan. It's only about 80 degrees outside today, and the clay hasn't been sitting in the sun, so it's going to show us what back face could be, but it's not going to give us the actual NIJ depths because it has to be heated to like 95 to 100 degrees. It's an oil-based clay. We also use some straps to strap the plate on there, again, because worst case scenario is we want maximum energy transfer on there. At the beginning of my videos, I also put a spreadsheet here of all the different threats that we're going to shoot at it, and I list out whether we're on plate number 1 or number 2 if we have multiple plates. And at the end, I fill all that out with the data so you guys can have a cut and dry answer of whether or not that round was stopped. All right, we're going to start with our 5.56 threats like we do with all our polyethylene plates because it seems like they're all pretty much about the same quality. I'd like to get a hold of Dayton Armor because they claim they have an RF2 capable plate that is very thin and lightweight, so that would be interesting to see. So we have M855A1, but I have it at subsonic velocities. In the past, usually you need a lot of thickness or the really high-end polyethylene to stop it. Then I have 2 rounds of M855, 62 grain full metal jacket with a little conical steel tip in there. I try to put a picture-in-picture whenever I have, so if you are new to the channel and you have no idea what I'm blathering about, at least the picture helps. We have a 10.5-inch SBR Palmetto State Armory build with a Yankee Hill Turbo 5.56 up front. Got the Primary Arms 3X Cyclops. I think the only thing I don't like so far is that you've got less eye relief on it, but I love the huge ACSS reticle. So this one should be on the left side of the plate. That's quiet. These two will be on the top of the plate. Velocity there. This one will be right next to it. I figured this threat is somewhat relevant considering I've recorded this in 2022 and there is a Russian-Ukraine conflict/war, and I know ShotStop sent a lot of their products abroad, and so have a lot of other armor companies. So I have some 5.45 by 39, but I have worst case scenario. I present to you the SSG82. This has a 23.6-inch barrel. This is from East Germany in the early 80s. There's only 2,000 of these built, 600 of them in the US. It's a bolt gun. It has a detachable 6-round box magazine. We have 2 rounds of our 7N6, our poison bullet. This has a mild steel penetrator inside that takes up most of its core. Now it is blunted, it doesn't have a point on it, so it doesn't do very good at penetrating armor. However, we have a longer barrel. I think we should see 3,000 feet per second, give or take, from this. Pretty good velocity. This has a 1 pound trigger, if that. This will be on the left side of the plate. Cool. Now, unfortunately, I don't have really any of these specialized 545 with the tungsten or hardened steel penetrating cores, because those are really hard to get in the United States. Now it's time to bring out our long and strong. We've got our 22-inch TC compass with our turbo 556 up there. So we've got, again, maximum real world velocity. I have a couple threats that are known for speed, but again, polyethylene is good at stopping speed, so it's going to be interesting. We have 4 rounds of M193 55 grain full metal jacket. Then we have 2 rounds of a 40 grain pre-fragmented copper solid from Elite Ammunition. This is their 40 grain PFP round. I forget how fast I have these worked up to. I was still working up a load for them. I think it was almost actually running out of powder charge, or case capacity, I should say. We'll take those shots second, the M193 first. Getting nervous, dropping everything all over the ground. If I forgot to mention, the ShotStop plate is actually NIJ certified. That means it shows up on the CPL list. And that means that there's a lot of logistics and paper trails and quality assurance, is that a word? Quality assurance that that plate goes through in the manufacturing process, that then the NIJ gives them a listing on their page. It is not a cheap process. So this will be the top of the plate. Pretty good velocity. Middle top of the plate. And I'll put this one in the bottom corner. And right hand side. Did I lose something? I thought I heard something shut off. 33, 32. Now our little PFP rounds from Elite Ammunition. Left hand side towards the bottom. 34, 36. Left hand side again. 34, 61. The cool thing about our polyethylene and this truck bed style lining coating on here is it's really good at being able to write on here and mark our shots. So our M193 shot number 1, 2 right there. Our 10-inch M855 right there, number 1 and number 2. Our 7N6 was right there. M193 right there. Our PFP was right there. A 7N6 was right there. There was our subsonic A1. This one I might not consider a fair hit based on our spacing there, but usually, again, polyethylene is good at containing a lot of shots on the plate. And then down here is our PFP, and then this one in the NIJ's eyes would not be considered a fair hit because that is literally an edge shot. They shoot a minimum of 2 inches from the edge. That's how I have all these marked. Place those bets in the comments below. Looks like, hold on. R.A.N.G.E. We have a penetration right there from the M855. Shot number 1. Shot number 2 was stopped. We will confirm afterwards whether or not we had any additional penetrations on here. It looks like our M193s are giving us the most back face wise. That's kind of a little bit concerning from 5.56 on this plate, but it is a thinner plate to begin with. Now our A1, that looks like it poked through. Let's try to, oh, wait, yeah. That A1 subsonic did penetrate and made it all the way through. In some of our other testing, if the polyethylene is thick enough, it will actually just kind of poke out the back, but it penetrated this plate. All right, I can't really tell if it's pressed. It kind of looks like it is, but maybe in sections. Our edge shot down here is the worst as far as back face goes. The clay is warm. That's right around 37 millimeters. That is passing in the NIJ's eyes. Again, clay's got to be like 98 to 103, and it's going to be a lot softer than this. Up here, towards the top edge, that one is 48 millimeters. This one's a little more realistic over here, and about 30 millimeters. So this plate is thinner, so that is a downside to going to a thinner plate, is that you are going to have more back face on shots that are stopped. And now for our NIJ level 3 threat profile. This is M80 Ball. We have a 24-inch Savage Access 110 tactical left hand eject. I just picked this up. I have the R.A.N.G.E Optics SH4 Gen 2 scope up top in a totally too tall mount, but I just needed an optic for this. I think I'm going to pick up one of the Crimson Trace scopes for this, but we've got some new manufacturer Winchester or Lake City. They're running the Lake City operation right now. M80 Ball. It's 145 to 150 grain full metal jacket. We should see over 2,800 feet per second. I do believe the NIJ level 3 and upcoming RF1 and 2 specifications call for 2,750. So what this is essentially going to do is give us more back face and aid in our potential ability to penetrate. Got a JK Armament rifle kit Form 1 suppressor up front. Good velocity there. This one will go down by that M193. Nice. The bolt is a little bit sticky on this gun still. We'll go on the right side for this shot, below the M193. That one might have been a little too close to the edge, folks. Last shot. Nice. Good velocity off that. Starting to get a lot of clay thrown all over my table. Again, a big thanks to Chavant for donating 85 pounds of our Roma Plastilina clay to make this briefcase. It has come in handy. Our M80 Ball shots, we had one right here. I think that was the last one. I wanted to place it in the compromised area. We got this one right here. That is on the edge. Got to be 2 inches for the NIJ again to consider that a fair hit, but in all's fair in love and war, so we'll consider that one. This shot is definitely a fair hit right here and here. There is a little bit of this plate left. Let's see what the back face looks like before we move on to any other threats on this, or if we go to the second plate. Ho! No pass-throughs, folks, but look at these holes in this guy. I think we're at the limits for this plate when we start shooting the 308 at it, and you know, we've delaminated it with prior hits. When you, again, this is all worst case scenario. In the NIJ, they're going to place 6 shots, 2, 4, 6, center of mass, away from the edges, and then that's one threat. So when they go, you know, 308, 6 shots, move on to another plate, 6 shots. They don't shoot the plate as many times as possible. They just 6 shots. As far as our back face goes, this is going to be pretty gnarly. If I can even get the gauge in there. That's 68 millimeters for this guy up here. This guy on the edge, 69. This guy down here, 54. So quite a bit of back face. It is stopping it. Now, because this plate is thin, you could mitigate some of that back face risk by wearing a 3A backer behind it. But at that point, you might as well just get a thicker one of these plates. But let's flatten this clay out, and I've got one more threat we're going to shoot at it. Our final threat for our ShotStop Level 3 Plus polyethylene plate is our 338 Lapua Magnum. Got some IMI Systems 250 grain boat tail hollow point. Our Ruger Precision Magnum has a 26-inch barrel on it, getting really good velocities out of this. Curious as to what the back face is going to be on such a thin plate. This is plate number 2, and we have flattened out the clay, so I'll try to place these shots accordingly pretty far apart, and we'll go and see what kind of damage we've done. This should be, get this placed right, should be the left upper middle of the plate. Nice. Okay. And then this one will be the lower right. Nice. If I could sidetrack us for a second, I will comment that the Arc and Optics SH4 Gen 2, the parallax adjustment seems a little bit off at 20. I have it set as low as it will go at 25 yards, and our reticle is not super clear, so I might have pulled this shot number 2 right down here. That is about an inch from the edge. I'm dreading what this plate is going to look like behind. First shot was over here. Again, this is a fresh plate. We beat the clay flush. I'm very curious what it's going to look like. Place those bets. Ho! Stop that one. And the second one unfortunately went through. At least it looks like it did. It penetrated the front there, and then what it did was bunched up the plate there. So that's definitely not a fair hit. But that first one, it actually stopped. That's pretty good from a fresh plate there. As far as our back face goes, this guy right here is right around 40 millimeters. Again, with an NIJ certified test where the clay is a lot warmer, those numbers could be elevated. Essentially, like I've mentioned before, if the manufacturer sees me stop a threat in one of my tests, it would be a good idea for them to actually send it off to the NIJ to have it officially tested to see what the real-world backface would be. But this is worst case scenario. At range, if you were to take a 338 Lapua at say 1,000 yards, the velocity of that is going to be dropped off considerably enough that it would not be an issue unless they're using armor-piercing threats. This is kind of where I want to get into 8.6 Blackout to see, you know, at that reduced velocity, because they do offer supersonics in that cartridge, what kind of backface and penetration potential we have on plates. Here is one of the favorite parts of my testing, is doing the teardown. I feel that this keeps companies very transparent when they make claims about the construction of their armor panels without you, the consumer, having to buy this and tear this down. I do it for you. Here is plate number 2 with the 2 shots of 338 Lapua. This plate most definitely could take more hits up here, probably a 5.56, but down here, this plate is severely compromised. I am not sure if they are pressing their plates or not. They kind of look like they are, but they seem to come apart rather easily. Maybe they're pressing them in sections without the manufacturer telling us and showing us that they're actually using these giant presses that smash all this together. There's no way of knowing for sure. They use the Duritium technology, but I am not quite sure what that is. I don't know if it's a different type of polyethylene or if it's how they layer the polyethylene on here. Plate number 1, the only 2 penetrations we had were the 10.5-inch M855 and our subsonic M855A1. We were getting a little bit of backface with our M193 threats, but they were placed on the outer edge of the plate and not the center. Otherwise, this didn't do too bad for a thin polyethylene plate. I see a little bit of foam that they put on the outer edge. That helps keep the outer edge itself from taking any hits and possibly damaging the plate. But with polyethylene, you don't usually have to worry about that. You probably could run one of these over with a steamroller and it probably would perform just fine. Well, everyone, I think that concludes another test out here at the range with the King of Armor Destruction and the Armor Wizard Zap. Our ShotStop level 3 plus NIJ certified plate didn't do too bad. Again, this is a 100% through and through polyethylene plate. It is thinner than most all of the other polyethylene plates that I've tested, and as a subsequent lighter as well. So it's going to be more susceptible to those threats that it is not rated for. Again, M855 and M855A1, even at subsonic velocities, are outside of the NIJ's scope for rating this particular plate. I like to try to test worst case scenario when it comes to shooting some of this stuff. So if you guys are trying to make a buying decision and you see plate A is level 3, plate B is level 3, this plate costs $300, this plate costs $450, besides maybe the weight and thickness, what's the difference? Which plate is going to give you the maximum performance for your dollar? Now, again, this is all redneck science, and this isn't, 100% guarantee. A bulletproof vest is not bulletproof. It's body armor. It's bullet resistant. You should never rely on any of my results to be 100% definite. But if you're trying to make that buying decision and you just have this extra bit of information, it can go a long way. At the end of all my videos, I take a moment to thank all those who help make these possible. Number 1 is my Patreon supporters. Number 2 is the Armor Shop, who sent me those plates from ShotStop to destroy as I pleased with no strings attached. If you guys want to see me test any more of ShotStop's plates, always leave a comment below. I think I've tested pretty much all of theirs except for their new sub 5 pound level 4. And of course, number 3 is you all for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you at the range.